of the weekend. We're rounding off the SPFL fixture list with this encounter in Perth. It is St Johnstone against Rangers. It's live here on Sportsound on BBC Radio Scotland with Callum Davidson, Lee McCulloch and Al Lamont.
Thanks again, Rich. Rangers have the opportunity this afternoon to go top of the table for the first time in a meaningful sense since February of 2022. A victory over St Johnstone would open up a 2-point gap on champions Celtic, a scenario that only the most optimistic of Rangers supporters would have countenanced as they lost to Aberdeen to bring about Michael Beale's exit. Philippe Clement's impact combined with Celtic's own stuttering form has set up what looks like a genuine title race. St Johnstone's only win in their last 9 came against Ross County, and although not entrenched in a relegation battle, every point at this stage is a precious one, and you can bet your life Craig Levein would bite your hand off for one this afternoon. It will be St Johnstone going from left to right as the sides have just switched ends to kick us off. St Johnstone all in blue with a white pinstripe around the top. Rangers in white tops, blue shorts and white socks. In the Perthshire sunshine, we are underway. And point a racket coming from the stands at both ends behind both goalkeepers. St Johnstone pinched possession early on down the right-hand side. It's Sidibe who's failed to keep the ball in, and Borna Barisic who's back in at left back, having had to spend a lot of time on the bench of late, with Ridvan Yilmaz being Philippe Clement seemingly his preferred option at left back, but rotation, which seems to be the preferred model for the Belgian manager, allowing Barisic another run out this afternoon. Phillips has it in the middle of the park for St Johnstone. It's back with McGowan, who's playing the right-hand side of the back three, tries to get the ball out to the St Johnstone right, cut out by Cortez though, and Rangers have it back with John Souttar, who is another one who's getting a good run in the team, finally getting back to fitness on the bench this afternoon. Here's Cortez, who makes his first league start for the club since his January move. Goldson has it on the halfway line. Rangers looking to try and get an early goal to really give their side and fans something to cheer about. And hugely important, Callum Davidson, that St Johnstone try and keep that back door closed for as long as possible.
Yeah, the start's really important for St Johnstone today. I think Rangers will play the ball forward early. The pitch looks is a wee bit fiery, difficult to play actually fast flowing football on it, so I think you'll see a few balls forward. I think St Johnstone probably will be camped round about the 18-yard line, but again, really important. You saw a couple of times St Johnstone had the chance to keep it and they've given it away, so really important to start this game, remain composed and deal with anything under pressure.
Here's Silva for Rangers just at the edge of the penalty area. He's flagged offside though as the challenge comes in, and it will be a St Johnstone free kick. Just strikes me, Lee McCulloch, that as Callum's saying there, that Rangers might go a bit more direct, that they have tended to do that a bit more often in any case under Philippe Clement than perhaps previously.
Yeah, I completely agree. And with the pitch, as Callum was just saying there, I think there's been a couple of balls into Silva. Silva's movement is usually very, very good. He's came short a couple of times there and looked in behind, and it's James Tavernier just trying to lift the ball in at him. So I think this game will be a little bit more direct from both teams, maybe more so than normal.
What does Silva offer Rangers up front that Dessers doesn't? What are the differences between the two?
I wouldn't say there's real big difference. Silva's movement is tremendous. His link-up play is really good, where I think Dessers is more... It more looks like he prefers the ball wide with crosses coming in the box. Silva's movement is take the defender to the ball and spin in behind. When the ball's wide, he sort of comes away for the goal, Silva.
Yeah, I think Dessers probably more old-fashioned striker, isn't he? Anywhere Silva's the one he'll work off his movement to get the space, rather than obviously the physical side of it.
It's a St Johnstone throw-in just about 10 yards inside the Rangers half right-hand side, but they can't keep it in play, and it's now a Rangers throw-in on their left to be taken by Borna Barisic. Quickly back to John Souttar, and he'll play it square along the 18-yard box to Connor Goldson. Goldson does indeed fire it early forward, looking for Scott Wright in behind. Momentarily Luke Robinson, but Robinson recovers with the aid of the veteran Andy Considine, and St Johnstone look to come forward, and there's a foul there on the far side, and they'll have a free kick in a bit of a scrappy opening 3.5 minutes. St Johnstone 0, Rangers 0.
Yeah, that was, I think it was Goldson there. You just saw his prime example there. Probably a 50-yard pass over the top. Again, Scott Wright, obviously in the team. He's got great pace. It's probably one area that sort of the pitch they're going to try and utilise in behind Robinson and Andy Considine on the left-hand side for St Johnstone.
St Johnstone midfield, Graham Carey sitting probably deeper than we've tended to see him, almost a 3 in that middle of the park with Dan Phillips and Matt Smith, with Connor Smith trying to get closest to Sidibe up front, as Mitov takes the free kick from about 20 yards inside his own half up to the edge of the penalty area. Sidibe was claiming he was fouled as Goldson gets the header clear. Diamonde knocks it up towards the halfway line. Lundstrom steps in and picks up possession. Cantwell out to the left-hand side. Barisic scurries to keep it in play and knocks it back infield to Lundstrom. I was saying to Lee McCulloch just earlier on when we saw the team, Lundstrom and Cantwell, of the middle to front players, tend to be the only ones who are almost certain starters. The others have tended to be rotated quite a lot. But Lee, you were saying essentially as long as they're winning, the rotation, it can very much be seen as a positive.
100%. It doesn't matter really what you're doing as a manager, as long as you're winning. To be able to make 4 and 5 changes every game and still produce 3 points consistently. Yes, the manager's very good. He's made such a difference since he came in, but it just shows you the squad of players he's got. It's all engaged. They're engaged in what he's trying to do. They're all pulling in the one direction. If it wasn't so and they weren't winning every week, then that could be flagged up as a problem.
Yeah.
Do you agree, Carl?
Yeah, question would arise from it. I think it's great when you win games, because anything, as you say, anything you do is right. It's all hindsight, isn't it?
Here's Cantwell in a good position, slips in for Cortez to Silva, edge of the penalty. A first chance for Rangers to try and threaten the goal. The ball in from Silva wasn't a great one, and it's up in the air off the head of McGowan and then safely clutched by Mitov. Thought Silva might have had the opportunity to go for goal himself there, chose to try and find a teammate, and the chance was gone. Still 0-0 after 6 minutes.
I think he could have got his shot away there, Al. I think you're right, but he's playing it wide and trying to get in the box. And what I did notice is Cortez is very good at getting in the back post there for the opposite side of the pitch for attacking crosses. So that could be something that the manager's touched on with him.
Here is Cortez, halfway line, left-hand side. Good trickery to try and get away from a couple of players. He was fouled, reckons referee Matthew McDermott, and Rangers will quickly take the free kick again. Lundstrom plays it back to Goldson, and now it's Tavernier, who got 3 assists on Wednesday, and well, it sounds, I haven't seen any of the highlights as yet, but the accounts I've read, Rangers were so far on top and should have scored a barrel load more than the 3 they did. Cyril Dessers himself could have had 5 or 6. Here's Goldson as Rangers look to try and dominate this game as they did on Wednesday night at Ibrox. Here's Barisic, left-hand side. Cantwell makes a move, gets the ball into feet, and then tries to switch the play out to Tavernier, right-hand side, coming forward. Connor Smith tries to track him. The ball forward is cut out by Considine, and Phillips gets it down to Robinson, who plays it off Tavernier and out for a St Johnstone throw-in over on the far side. No real threat to either goal as yet. Still 0-0, 7 minutes in, and St Johnstone just playing their way into the game. They'll be relatively content, you'd imagine, Callum, with the way they've started.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was a good run by Diamande there. I think, again, a little bit on Rangers, I think when they play the forward passes, what it does is it actually, in a low block, it actually stretches the defence, so they're always dropping. So because they're playing the forward passes, then more gaps will open up in between, and that's what probably Rangers will look to exploit it. The forward passes might be there to start, but then once that happens, then I think St Johnstone will draw deeper and deeper, and the gaps will then start to creep in, and I think that's when Rangers will expose it. I think that's where St Johnstone got to be really disciplined, really make sure when they do drop, they've got to squeeze the game again. So when they do look to play forward early, they'll drop, but then must then squeeze the back line up and stop the gaps for Rangers to play.
Rangers have it on the back. Suter plays it square to Goldson. Immediately is looking up, thinking is there a long pass on, but instead he goes back square to John Suter. He takes his eye off the ball and it just bobbles under his boot, and he has to retrieve it.
That's a bit harsh there. Well, I think it just bobbled over his foot. I think he had his eye on the ball and it just bobbled over.
Well, I'll take your word for it, Callum. You're the...
I've played in this pitch.
Pro. as Rangers try and come forward down the right hand side. Wright giving chase, back goes Robinson, does well, he just plays it off Scott Wright. And Luke Robinson on loan from Wigan, he's been an astute acquisition. He was recalled briefly in the January window there by Wigan, but swiftly returned to St Johnstone, which would have been a relief, I imagine, for Craig Levein. Calm.
Yeah, definitely. It's always a strange one when he gets recalled. You think, oh, that's me, lost the player, and then I think it was 2 weeks later he appeared again. So he's been a great signing for St Johnstone. Obviously had Adam Montgomery last year in the position, so I think they had to replace it. I think he's filled the position really well.
Kelchins moving away from Cortez down the St Johnstone right, tries to slip it back infield to Matt Smith, but that's cut out and Rangers have it. Cantwell just trying the little flick, which was maybe a little bit over elaborate. He lost it, but Rangers have it back, and it's Diamonde, who might not be overly used to playing on pitches like this, but will quickly have to get used to it in Scotland if he's going to make a success of his time here. Here comes St Johnstone. Goldson though gets his head to the ball, and Suter guides it back to Jack Butland, who immediately bowls it out, over arm out to Barisic on the left hand side. Almost 10 minutes in and still no goals as Silva sweeps out to the right hand side. He was looking for Tavernier, he didn't find him, but it's going to come back. Matthew McDermott tried to play an advantage. It was a good few seconds later.
Interesting, wasn't it? That was quite a long time. I think it didn't look like an obvious foul either to me. I know I'm biased, but I think it didn't look an obvious foul. Played the advantage, Rangers gave it away, and then he blew it back. I think St Johnstone harshly done by there.
Yeah, there's no real, well, there's certainly not a hard and fast rule in terms of how long the referees do allow it, but that definitely did feel on the longer side. But Rangers benefit from it and have a free kick midway inside the St Johnstone half, out to the left, and an opportunity here for Borna Barisic to try and find a teammate at the edge of the box as the white jerseys line up. Barisic, not a great ball, it's flicked on by Goldson, he can't find a teammate. Behind safely as far as St Johnstone are concerned for a goal kick, and with 11 minutes almost on the clock in Perth, it's still St Johnstone 0, Rangers 0.
You just see early on now, when the centre halves of Rangers get the ball, particularly Goldson, I know Suter's a right footer playing on the left, particularly Goldson, you've got Wright, Cortez and Silva coming short and then spinning. As Callum was saying, they're trying to get that St Johnstone back line to drop, and that's where Cantwell will come into play to pick it up in the pockets as the game develops, I'd imagine.
Silva glancing the ball on, but all the way through to Dimitar Mitov, the Bulgarian international, all in green this afternoon.
It's a really hard job for Sidibe up front for St Johnstone today. He's on his own. Lee, you'll probably know more obviously in that role, but he's going to be isolated. What's his kind of main he's a sort of inexperienced player at this level, so what's his kind of main kind of role today for the team?
I would say he's got to get a hold of the ball. Two aggressive centre halves, he's got to be able to link the play, and at times when the St Johnstone defence have got the ball, he's got to look behind, stretch the game and let the defensive line get up and try to squeeze Rangers in to the low block that St Johnstone are currently in.
Yeah, it's a tough role. It's a tough role for him today. I think it's something that's a big ask for him. He's not obviously been in Scottish football that long.
Barisic snipping in front of Kelchins there, and the Croatian was caught by the Israeli, and it's going to be a talking to here for Kelchins as Barisic tried to break forward. Matthew McDermott wants a word with the Israeli international. Rangers will have the free kick more or less right on the halfway line, left hand side, and I think that's a last warning, or else you're in the boot next time from Matthew McDermott, as Barisic does get up and take the free kick back to Suter. Square once more to Goldson, out to Tavernier, right hand side, just inside his own half, clips that over the top of Robinson for Wright to chase. Across goes Constantine, he'll just try and shepherd that out of play. Successfully does so. The 36-year-old's seen it all over the years, Andrew Considine.
Yeah, good experience there from Andrew. I think that ball's happened 2 or 3 times already. Robinson's been caught a little bit on the front foot, and Andy's there in the back five there just to cover up, and that's the experience which definitely helps young Robinson on that left hand side.
Goal kick to St Johnstone then, who are a couple of points behind Motherwell coming into this one, 3 behind Aberdeen and Hibernian. It's such a tight middle section of the table. 1 minute you find yourself fighting off the relegation playoff worries, and then the next year thinking about top 6.
The incentive's there for St Johnstone. If they win today and if they pick up 3 points today, they can go ahead of Motherwell. So they've got obviously something big to play for.
Yeah, I think it's really important St Johnstone get the points, and can you get it's always a lot easier to play football when you get points on the board early.
Here's Wright looking for Cantwell, as well cut out though by Considine, a really important interception, and now St Johnstone will try and counter. It's Phillips feeding Kelchins on the right hand side up to the halfway line. Cortez comes back through the legs of the Colombian, but across comes Diamondi on the cover, breaks for McGowan, who just feeds it forward. Suter takes a touch and then nudges it forward to Lundstrom, who immediately lifts it forward looking for Silva. Just onside, Gordon slides in. No, he wasn't offside actually. The belated flag comes to penalise Silva, and the free kick goes away as St Johnstone have played almost quarter of an hour, and it's St Johnstone 0, Rangers 0.
That was when St Johnstone won it back there. We've talked about Sidibe. I think Graham Carey or Dan Phillips got to get on the ball. He's got to show for them. He's got to make them aware of where he is. Again, because there's limited passes. Obviously, when he's on his own, really important that Sidibe today for St Johnstone creates angles and creates movement for Dan and Graham to pass it and link the play and get up the pitch easier.
He's a little bit static there, Carl, wasn't he? It was,
yeah.
Even make it bend your run into the corner. Just let the defence get a rest, let them get up, push the line up and play the game in Rangers half. But as you say, he was just standing there like a target man.
Yeah,
and that's the last thing he is.
Yeah, I know. He's obviously a strong guy, but I think that's the one thing we'll also, it's probably been a key factor in today's game for St Johnstone, is his movement and his awareness of how to play that role.
St Johnstone have a free kick here. He was caught by Cantwell, and Matt Smith about 20 yards inside the Rangers half, right of centre, will drop this in towards the edge of the box, and it comes. It's a Connor Goldson header clear. Phillips will go and try and retrieve that, and he lofts it all the way back to his goalkeeper, who's 10 yards or so out of his own area. Fabio Silva will go and try and close down, but Mitov fires it out to the right hand side. Carey for once his touch deserts him, and it's knocked out of play for a St Johnstone throw in. Philippe Clement playing ball boy and just hands that to the Australian Ryan McGowan on the halfway line, right hand side, to take this throw in. No trouble for either goalkeeper in the game as yet, as McGowan eyes up his options from this throw in. Matt Smith comes to offer himself. Todd Cantwell already complaining that St Johnstone are wasting time. Suter having his jersey pulled and then he's clipped by Sidibe. Take your pick as to which one of those the free kick was awarded for. Rangers do have the free kick quickly taken by Jack Butland, who in the last couple of weeks has been talked up for an England recall, and certainly I think there's very few people who have observed him this season who would argue against that one, Lee.
He's been brilliant, and getting back to last season when it was the person he took over, Alan McGregor, a legend at the club and so many appearances, how well he done. I think it's a tough one for the goalkeeper coming to follow that. I think he's been brilliant. I think he's been Rangers' best player this year.
Yeah, and the fact that you could say that Alan McGregor's not really been missed is probably the highest compliment you could pay him.
Yeah, of course.
I worked with Jack when I was at Stoke down there, and he was fantastic. You know, definitely as a shot stopper. You know, he was unbelievable. He's got a confidence about himself. You can see that when he plays, and playing for Rangers definitely suits him.
Rangers have won themselves a free kick in a good position. It was Cantwell who was trying to burrow through a couple of players and eventually was fouled. The assistant flagged, and now Tavernier just outside the penalty area on the right hand side, about 7 or 8 yards maybe from the goal line as well, and Rangers have got plenty of bodies forward to try and get on the end of this one. Cantwell just lurking on the edge of the box as well. Tavernier raises the left hand before he stands this up into the 6 yard area. It's headed away as far as Cantwell, who goes out to the right hand side once more for Tavernier. He tried to take on Connor Smith, but in fairness to Smith, he didn't buy it, and it's off the St Johnstone player for a throw into Rangers, and still 0-0 as it's taken back to Diamondi now. Midway inside the St Johnstone half, rolls it to the edge of the box. Scott Wright gets turned, shots blocked. Cantwell picks up, then leaves it to Silva rather inadvertently. Silva with a decent cut back, and in steps Matt Smith, comes off his own player. St Johnstone trying to clear the lines. Eventually it comes off Tavernier, and they will have a throw in deep inside their own territory down near the corner flag. But
it's the first real bit of sort of pressure Rangers have had there, free kick, and then that second phase, that was a great ball into Scott Wright in the half turn, and they got little half chances, but St Johnstone have actually defended the box really well. You know, you've probably looked at a touch map. I don't think Rangers have many touches, you know, in St Johnstone's penalty box, so all credit to St Johnstone for the start.
Yeah, they've been solid so far, well disciplined as they'll need to be throughout, you'd imagine, as Phillips shields the ball from Cantwell, though he's nicked it though, the Rangers attacking midfielder in. Silva picks up as Cantwell hits the deck. No hint of a free kick really, as Silva plays it out to the right hand side to Tavernier, trying to engineer an opportunity here. Diamonde midway inside the St Johnstone half finds Barisic. Looked like he might have been winding a shot up there, instead he pokes it out to the left hand side for Cortez. Onto the right on the angle of the box, back to Diamonde on the left foot, slides it back out to Barisic, turns away from his marker Kelchins, back to Lundstrom. St Johnstone working ever so hard to close Rangers down, denying them the space, but Cortez and Cantwell looking to exchange passes. Diamonde gets in on the act. St Johnstone get it half clear. Barisic returns it into the penalty area. Constantine's there with the header. Connor Smith helps it on, and it's up to Sidibe, who, as the guys have been saying, have to hold it up here, allow his teammates to get up and support, which he does do, and Robinson then tries to feed it forward, but it's straight out of play. But Rangers find it very difficult, Lee, to find gaps in this St Johnstone backline as the 20th minute ticks round.
They are, and credit to St Johnstone with their defending and their shape. Rangers there, just a couple of, it was Diamande, I was just talking to Cal there. Diamande looks assured in the ball, some great passes forward between the lines, just into striker's feet or Cantwell's feet, who's playing just off the striker. Rangers have looked a little bit better in the last couple of minutes with these sort of passes, so it'll be interesting to see whether they still want to go direct or they're going to mix the game up now. I think the game's settled a little bit now.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think as well it's difficult for Rangers to actually get sustained. Obviously the pitch does play a big part in it, but I think it's really difficult to get any kind of like rhythm into your game when you're playing, so it does definitely help St Johnstone. Rangers are just struggling to find that rhythm, those passes that they pop into strikers, lay off, a little bit of movement round about them, so really difficult at times for Rangers to get that kind of control in the game in the final third.
Yeah, it's a St Johnstone throw in on the right hand side, midway inside their own half. Rangers have won the last 4 meetings between the sides. The last time they won 5 in a row against St Johnstone was over 20 years ago. But the incentive is there for them to go top of the table if they can repeat that feat this afternoon, as McGowan gets into the feet of Phillips, who just drops a shoulder. Good composure, and out to the left hand side for Robinson. Over the halfway line he comes, and Sidibe in support on that left channel. Golson goes to track him. Sidibe though curls it into the box. Off his line comes Butland, takes charge of the situation, and it just rolls it out to Diamonde. Good goalkeeping, good authority there from the keeper, and Diamonde tries to start the Ranger attack. Cantwell though couldn't keep a hold of it, and Phillips, such an important player for St Johnstone, does well to find Carey. Out to the right hand side now for Kelchins, midway inside the Rangers half, back with Carey, and then further back to McGowan on the halfway line, plays it into Phillips. Belies his young years in the heart of the St Johnstone midfield. Daniel Phillips, such an important player for them at just 22 years of age, very composed, as Carey likewise fires it out to the left hand side. Tavernier will have to keep an eye on this one. He just knocks it away out in the far side before Robinson could try and profit. So we've played a quarter of the game and still no goals, and you'd have to say no real threat for either goalkeeper to deal with. The St Johnstone have the throw in on the far side, midway inside the Rangers half, the left hand side, to be taken by Robinson.
It's not a bad thing, Rangers actually letting St Johnstone have a bit of possession, because the game becomes a little bit more open. Sometimes I've seen managers do his tactics, you know, let the team have the ball because you're wanting to create the space, and it's also quite difficult to break down. So I think it's not a bad thing that St Johnstone are getting a little bit of control into the game and making a few passes, because what will happen is people will start running forward and then space should open up for Rangers. On the flip side, St Johnstone Rangers have been good defensively and they're concentrating on what they're doing.
Yeah, Rangers defensively have been very impressive this season. You'd have to say best overall. Goals against records, and certainly away from home. I think they've only lost 4 goals in their 12 games away from home, 9 clean sheets on the road. And I think the last time any side got double-figure clean sheets away from home was Rangers when they won the league. As Oscar Cortez wins his side. Conor McGowan is complaining about something as he conceded that corner, but Cortez denied by the Australian defender, but they will have the corner kick.
Yeah, it was a great ball over the top by Lundstrom. You thought Cortez had just got half a yard, but good defending by Ryan McGowan. He's got back in and made a very important interception.
Lots of experience in that St Johnstone backline between McGowan and Considine, and even Liam Gordon at 28's been around for a long time. Here's Barisic, left-hand side, curls in the corner to that penalty area, but it's swiftly returned out to the left-hand side as Barisic keeps it in play from 30 yards out, sends it back in looking for goals, and he's beaten in the jump by Considine. Right, tries to force it back out to the right-hand side. Cortez almost kept it in play, but loses his footing, and it's out for a throw-in. And St Johnstone, you'd have to say, after 24.5 minutes, looking pretty comfortable so far, but I know they certainly won't be taking anything for granted. They'll have to keep working hard.
I think they deserve loads of credit for the way that they've defended. They've defended out the box really well with the direct ball, but even crosses coming in the box, have defended the box really, really well, especially in the last couple of minutes. I've not really been asked the question since the start of the game up to the last maybe 3-4 minutes, and so far they don't look in doubt at the moment. The game doesn't look in doubt. It's not really, the game's not opened up yet. It's still a little bit. That's the ball there that I think Rangers can hurt St Johnstone. The ball where either Goldson or just a couple of minutes ago Lundstrom comes short, he spins, and then he sees the runners from wide in behind. I think that's where they can catch, with the pace, that's where they can catch St Johnstone.
Yeah, it's a difficult one though when Rangers St Johnstone defends so deep. It's such a really difficult ball. It's probably the hardest ball to play. It very really has to be a straight one, it has to be a little diagonal ball over the top, and I think you see Lundstrom hit one earlier, very hard to defend against. So I think that's what Rangers will be looking at, those little diagonal passes and the straight runs over and behind.
Cortez was penalised there for offside. The free kick's taken by Meatall. Suter returns it over the halfway line. Silva can't keep hold of it, and here comes St Johnstone down the left-hand side. It's Robinson tracked back the way by Wright, but Robinson checks in field. Has to go back to Considine, left-hand side for St Johnstone, back with Robinson over in the touchline about 10 yards from the corner flag. Goldson gets the clearance as the ball comes into his penalty area. Carey knocks it back to the left-hand side. Cantwell steps in, and Tavernier having to work hard against Robinson to get it clear, and eventually it's out of play for a Rangers throw-in deep in their own territory. Certainly haven't had things all their own way as they reach the summit of the Premiership table. A draw would take them level again with Celtic on points and would give them equal goal difference again, but would be behind on goals scored unless it was a particularly high scoring draw, that is. Gordon knocks it forward. It's flicked on by Connor Smith for Sidibe, breaks back the way for Carey, who spins away from Lundstrom and knocks it out to the left hand side for Robinson. Bit more encouragement here for the St Johnstone fans. Back with Carey, who we know can deliver a terrific ball if given the opportunity, but Lundstrom blocks that. It's out for a throw-in over on the far side. 27 minutes played, still 0-0 between St Johnstone and Rangers. Live with you here on Sportsound on BBC Radio Scotland. As Carey tries to turn it into the Rangers box again, but Diamondi's there, Luke to link with. Cantwell just ran away from him though, and McGowan mops up for St Johnstone, and Carey again tries to prise open the Rangers defence, but it's too much in the pass and it's out for a Rangers goal kick.
Yeah, I think there's St Johnstone, they've actually worked the ball really well to Robinson in the wide area. St Johnstone actually got bodies in the box. That's something I'd like to see them ask questions of Rangers. You know, I think they try to keep it
and deliver it, you mean?
Yeah,
put it in the box.
Put it in the box and ask questions. They've got bodies, very rare in the first probably 27 minutes they've had a position like that, and that's when they will make mistakes. The defenders will make mistakes. The ball will fall and it'll drop to you. Again, really important when St Johnstone do that. They make sure they ask questions of the Rangers backline.
Diamondi just getting the better of Phillips there, then tries to knock it down the right, but it's straight out of play. He was claiming it took a touch off a St Johnstone player, but it will be a St Johnstone throw. St Johnstone have lost twice by 2-0 this season already. against Rangers, but it wasn't so long ago, November of 2022, when they won here. Fabulous goal by James Brown.
It wasn't bad, was it?
Nicky Clark also on the score sheet that day. That was James Brown's first ever goal.
First time he set the target, I think. So. I'm only joking, Brownie.
He's going on loan to Raith Rovers, isn't he?
Yes, that's aye.
But it was a fabulous goal that afternoon. Here are St Johnstone coming forward. Came off Matt Smith last though. Suter made the challenge, and it's Rangers throw in, but almost half an hour gone, and no joy for either side in front of goal as yet. 0-0 as it stands. St Johnstone's 1 win in 9. That particular run started with a defeat at Ibrox. Just the 10 men in that one. Here's Tavernier. Cantwell lets it run. Comes all the way through to Barisic, about 30 yards from goal. He tries his luck, but it came off the heel there of Keltians and breaks harmlessly out to St Johnstone player, and it's Robinson picking up from Phillips, left hand side, plays it forward. It's a poor ball though. Tavernier steps in just inside the St Johnstone half. The Rangers fans want their side to lift the tempo. Cantwell gets it back to Lundstrom. Cantwell once more, about 35 yards out. Silva lets it run for Scott Wright, but he was on his heels, and the Rangers fans just want a bit more from Scott Wright particularly. I'm not sure that he's necessarily done his own chances any.
He was on his heels there.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was a bad ball for Cantwell. He's got to be gambling that he's playing that pass, and he's just standing watching the game. He's like being reactive instead of anticipating. Sorry, Cal.
No, I was going to say exactly what you just said there, so you carry on, Lee.
Ross McCausland's certainly been the man who's generally played in that right wing berth. Here's Cortez on the other flank trying to turn Keltians one way then the other, but he's really kept his eye on the ball and made a good challenge as St Johnstone try and play out, but Carey's lost it. Lundstrom for Barisic. Now Diamonde just showed too much of that to Phillips and dives in rather on Keltians, who was claiming for a free kick, but it doesn't come his way. It's back the way though with goals and all the way to Butland as the half hour comes and goes. Still goalless, and Craig Levein and Philippe Clement both at the edge of the technical areas here at McDermott, and you would have to say Craig Levein must be the happier of the two as things stand. But here's Tavernier coming forward for Rangers, tries to float that into the box, too much on it for Silva, and Mitov just lets it float all the way over his head and behind for a goal kick. 31 on the clock. St Johnstone 0, Rangers 0.
This is where Rangers need to be a little bit patient. It's hard to ask the fans in the stand to be patient. I know the incentive is go top of the league, but it doesn't always work out. You just roll up, and St Johnstone are going to roll over. St Johnstone have been brilliant so far in this game, the way they've defended. If you're picking the bones out it, they could get forward a little bit better and threaten the Rangers goal. But having said that, Rangers have not threatened the St Johnstone goal at all. It's been a pretty poor game since kick-off, you'd say.
I've actually quite enjoyed the tactical aspect of what both teams are trying to do. I think there hasn't been a lot of goal-mouth action, but tactically it's, St Johnstone have set up a certain way. Rangers try to do certain things at the moment which might pay off later in the game, so it's quite interesting to see it. I definitely think the pitch doesn't help the quality for either team. It is bobbling about a wee bit. A lot of guys are taking their eye off the ball. I think so. It doesn't help the sort of flow of the game.
It slows it down, doesn't it, Cal? Because you need to take that extra touch, because you don't want it to bobble over your foot, so it can slow the game down. And I think that's where Rangers are going direct at the start.
Sidibe's done well to keep the ball in play over at the corner flag on the left hand side. Connor Smith then wins the throw-in of Diamonde, and the St Johnstone fans welcoming that bit of play from particularly Sidibe, who worked ever so hard to try and keep it in play.
So I agree with Lee as well. I think it does slow the game down. It does become a bit stop-starty. There's no kind of rhythm to it. So again, probably all goes in favour for the home team, but that's why you have home advantage sometimes. So it'll be an interesting next 15 minutes before half-time.
Yeah, Considine has a chance to get the ball into the box here from the long throw-in left-hand side, about 15 yards from the corner flag, and it comes. Diamonde's there. It's not a good header into a poor area as far as he's concerned, but Sidibe couldn't take advantage, and Rangers will try and counter as Cortez leads that, but a good challenge from Matt Smith diving in to knock it out of play on the halfway line as Cortez tried to get free down that left flank. Throw-in's quickly taken. Barisic forward for Cantwell. He's fouled by Kelchins, who did get a last warning earlier on, but escapes the booking as Rangers take the free kick quickly, and Corte just managing to keep the ball in play, and then down goes McGowan. No free kick though. I think he was looking for that.
I gave him a 9 for that one. That was fantastic.
By the way, we've all been there.
Lundstrom then into the feet of Silva, tries to spin away from Gordon. Referee happy with that challenge as Silva writhes on the ground. Gordon took enough of the ball according to Matthew McDermott, and St Johnstone come away down the left hand side. Connor Smith has it midway inside his own half, back to Carey. Silva just picking himself up now. Diamonde looking to put St Johnstone under pressure, and it will be a throw-in in the end to the home side, midway inside their own half. Silva's back on his feet as St Johnstone prepare to take the throw-in, but yeah, the quality hasn't been great so far, and both goalkeepers pretty much spectators in the opening 34 minutes, which have been goalless here at McDermott on this Sunday lunchtime. Considine to take the throw-in from 15 yards inside his own half. Down the left it goes. Tavernier gets his head to it. Cantwell comes in as well. Still in the air as Connor Smith tries to make something of it. Rangers play it forward. Not returned into Rangers territory there by Carey. And now Sidibe, poor touch from him though, allows Diamonde to step in, and then he heads it into the path of Cantwell, who on the stretch gets it away from Kelchins, and this is going to be a yellow card. He just was on the stretch there, so too was Cantwell. Cantwell stretched to get the ball. Kelchins was just fraction of a second late, but it's his third infringement of this first half, and he does go into the book. First yellow card of the game.
It looked like a sore one actually. It was just a late tackle. It wasn't like a bad tackle, but it actually looks like Cantwell, the way he's fallen, he's actually, I think he's fallen on his back, and I don't know if he's probably winded himself rather than he's down injured with the tackle.
It looked as if he tried to maybe jump out of the tackle, so it must have been caught if he's still down. But I think it's Kelchins, as you say, that's just maybe his third or fourth foul, so maybe persistent fouling as well, as that was maybe a bad one, you'd say.
Yeah,
slightly later. That's probably what to use.
Yeah. Pitchside reporter Martin Down has been keeping an eye on things as well, and Martin, you thought that maybe he should have picked up a yellow earlier on.
Yeah, there was a clash early on in the game with Borna Barisic where Kelchins caught him, and I thought at the time, having seen it back, the referee Matthew McDermott was a little bit lenient. I think it maybe was the time of the game he let it go, but easily could have been a yellow card at the time.
It's nice to see tackles in the game, isn't it, Martin? I like to see some tackles.
Well, it'll be a free kick to Rangers when the game eventually restarts, as Todd Cantwell picks himself up, having received treatment. He won't have to go off because of the yellow card shown to Kelchins, so Rangers will get this restarted from inside the centre circle. No goals after 36 and a half minutes, and no real goalmouth incidents to speak of thus far, as Rangers continue their quest to try and topple Celtic from the summit of the Premiership table, as Barisic plays it back over the halfway line to Goldson. Goldson out to the right to Tavernier. A lot of players slipping out there as Cantwell flicks it on for Silva. Diamonde now from the edge of the box. Oh, what a strike! Mohamed Diamonde with the first bit of quality that this game has seen, and what a bit of quality it was from 25 yards on the right foot. Diamonde opens his Rangers account in some style. It is St Johnstone now, Rangers 1.
Tremendous goal, amazing technique. The ball just fell to him. I'm just watching it again. Felt him, took a touch with his left foot, he's hit it with his right from maybe about 25 yards right into the corner, and to be honest, Mitov has no chance. That's the only real bit of quality we've seen in the game since it started, and that's his first league start, isn't it? Yep. The Rangers fans will take to him right away, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm not sure if it's Liam Gordon or Ryan McGee. He just tries to poke the ball out defence that falls straight to Diamande. He's just taking a touch and wonderful strike. You know, I think it's probably what the game's been crying out for, that little bit of quality from either team. You know, probably wouldn't say it's been thoroughly deserved from Rangers, but I think sometimes when you play against teams like these, you know, that little bit of quality, you're always in danger of what we said, if St Johnstone sit in and allow it to happen. They do have players who can change a game, and the young man he'll remember that goal for a while.
Yeah, first goal for Rangers then for Mohamed Diamondi to break the stalemate at McDermott Park. And Lee, you and I were talking pre-match. I think you said to me he's left-footed, and I wasn't actually sure. Well, I'm still not sure after that.
Yeah,
right foot strike.
Even on the ball, you see him.
Yeah,
he passes the ball assured with both feet, and obviously the goal there. He took a touch with his right foot. He's hit it with his left. So, can we agree on he's both-footed, Al?
No, he's left-footed.
He's left-footed.
He's, he's talented and he's left-footed.
Well, the Rangers fans enjoyed that one, that's for sure. I'm sure his manager did as well. Brought to the club in January from Lens, and showing why he was brought in with a fabulous strike to open the scoring here. And now St Johnstone, maybe not just yet, but at some stage will have to come out and try and break Rangers down. But here come Rangers once more. It's Cantwell linking with Cortez, who switched flanks just for the moment at least to that right hand side. His cross is blocked out for a throw-in about 10 yards from the corner flag.
Again, it's that ball in behind. Tavernier just put it in behind Cortez on the right side this time, using his pace, got a cross in, and I think it was Gordon that came off and back out for a throw-in, but the threat is there.
It's going to be an interesting day for St Johnstone. The question will be from Craig is, what do they do? They try and be a little bit braver going forward, but as you see there, the game starts to open up, so it'll be a really interesting period of the game now. Probably dictate what will happen in the second half.
St Johnstone certainly can't afford to lose a second before half-time, which Scott Wright is trying to engineer right now. Plays it in, Silva can't make it, headed clear as far as Diamondi. Might think about another shot. Instead he picked out Cortez, who couldn't control it, and Tavernier couldn't get it, and it's played up to Sidibe, who gets spinned away from Goldson. He's done well there, Sidibe. Suter comes across to cover for his partner, up to the edge of the penalty area though. Sidibe trying to lose Suter, and then he takes the wrong option in the end, fires well over the top. Well, he had better options, 2 or 3 teammates getting up in support at the edge of the box. He did the original part very well. Sidibe got his side up the pitch, but ultimately the wrong decision, Callum.
Yeah, that's what we've been talking about. He actually did really well. He's taken the ball, he's turned Goldson, he's now gone behind. Now he's a good area. Now let's listen.
Poor bit of control there from Cantwell in a dangerous area, tries to retrieve the situation. Smith keeps it though, out to Kelton's right hand side. Now Smith once more from the right, gets a cross in low. Jack Butland must have given John Suter a good shout there as it ends up in the goalkeeper's arms, and Suter just withdrew from an intent to try and play it at the near post. It wasn't a bad ball in from Smith, but Butland gathers, and it's St Johnstone nil, Rangers 1.
A Rangers perspective there, they've just went 1-up and they're playing the ball into defensive midfield. It's coming into him, coming into Cantwell like a bouncing bomb. I think game management would tell you, do what you were doing at the start of the game, get the ball wide, spin it in behind, and be the threat that you've been. I think you've seen the captain there shouting over to the 2 centre halves, just get the ball forward, and that'll just be so they can get in at half time with the same score line and then regroup.
St Johnstone throwing over on the far side. Oscar Cortez holding his head, I'm not sure what happened there actually, but it will be a St Johnstone throw taken by Considine down the left. Robinson tries to help it on. Connor Smith right on that left touchline. Likewise, Cortez battling away there with Considine, who outmuscles him, and then St Johnstone, there's a slip there by Robinson, and Rangers pick up Silva, who's had very little joy, I'd have to say, in the game. Manages to win the throw for his side down near the corner flag on the Rangers right.
I always think as a manager and a player, it's probably always the worst time to lose a goal is between now and half time, isn't it? So I think for St Johnstone it's really important that they concentrate really hard at the back, don't go sort of gung-ho and go and try and attack and get back into the game, because they could quite easily lose the game here in the next 3 minutes.
Here's Cantwell over on the right hand side. Tavernier in support. The ball's gone out though for a St Johnstone throw-in, more or less in line with the 18-yard box. We've just got a couple of minutes left of this opening period, plus any stoppage time, of which I don't think there'll be too much. Haven't been all that many stoppages in the first period. as Considine prepares to take the throw-in from the far side. Diamonde strike a few minutes ago. I think it's possibly the only shot on target in the entire game thus far, but what a shot it was. And Mitov didn't have an earthly as it flew past him. Phillips now at midway inside his own half just clips it out to this near right hand side as far as St Johnstone are concerned. Kelchins tries to play it through the legs of Wright, but Wright gets the better of him. Back to Barisic, left hand side, thinks about playing it back to Scott Wright, but instead goes back to John Suter midway inside his own half. Now Goldson into the feet of the goal scorer Diamonde, the young Ivorian, just 23 years of age. Here's Suter up to the halfway line he comes. Back to Goldson. Taverniers available on the right hand side, just inside his own half. Plays it into the centre circle for Lundstrom, who first time plays it forward for Cantwell. He can't bring it under control, and it breaks for McGowan. McGowan for his captain Liam Gordon. Good work though from Silva to win it back inside the centre circle. Cantwell just clipping it round, and now it's Scott Wright. Plays it back for Cantwell, and he almost diverts it. I think he was just trying to control the ball as he was off balance, and an opening there for Rangers, and perhaps should have been a better opportunity in the end, but Cantwell on the stretch couldn't force it on target, and it remains in the final minute of the 45. St Johnstone 0, Rangers 1.
Sorry Cal, it starts with Silva working back in, winning the ball, and then Scott Wright, I think Cantwell can let it through his body and then get a shot goal, but he tried to take a touch. Scott Wright arguably should do a little bit better.
Yeah, I think the pass from Scott's got to be better there. I think Cantwell's probably on the stretch, and I think it was a great opportunity. It was actually great counter pressing from Rangers. Lost the ball, and all of a sudden that reaction to win it back in good area left St Johnstone exposed. And I think Scott Wright actually, he probably could have taken an extra couple of touches. He had probably more time than he thought, and then he just probably rushed the pass into Cantwell.
We're into stoppage time, 2 minutes of which are to be played here at McDermott Park. Rangers leading by 1-0, scored by Mohamed Diamonde on 37 minutes. St Johnstone for the most part have looked comfortable at the back, but well, I'm sure that once they look back at that, there'll be ways they could feel it was preventable, but it was some strike from Diamonde from about 25 yards to open his Rangers account. Back with Jack Butland, and now Suter plays it straight forward to Scott Wright, who flicks it for Cantwell and then gets the ball back. Down the left channel comes Scott Wright, back comes Keltians, good challenge from him, and Liam Gordon prevents the corner kick right on the goal line. Then Liam Gordon, the Saints skipper, plays it forwards, rather aimless one. Sidibe will try and make something of it, but Suter's there well in advance of him, and he plays it back to his goalkeeper.
Good chance here for Scott Wright there now. He's came short, he's linked to play brilliant. He's got, is it McGowan? I think he's got McGowan a 1v1. For me, Scott Wright just looks like he's lacking just a little bit of confidence here.
Tavernier into the penalty area, he's got options. Cortez is outside of him, he cuts it back. Good block inside the 6-yard box from Liam Gordon to knock it away to safety, and St Johnstone survive. They do not want to fall too behind in first half stoppage time. Up the field they come, but Rangers have won it back once more, but that was an opportunity. Again, Rangers maybe not quite making the most of the chances they've had.
The game's just starting to open up a little bit. I think it's always when you get that first goal, I think at the moment St Johnstone probably feel a little bit hard done by. They've done a lot of things well in this first half, and they're actually going to go in behind.
Here they are, because there's the half-time whistle sounding in Perth, and it is St Johnstone 0, Rangers 1 at half-time. And I mentioned at the time, it was the first real bit of quality in the game when Mohamed Diamonde picked up about 25 yards from goal and unleashed what turned out to be an unstoppable strike past the diving Dimitar Mitov. Rangers have had a couple other chances since then, but nothing of real note other than the goal in the first period. St Johnstone have offered little going forward, but have been well organised at the back, and will, as Callum said, maybe feel a little bit hard done by. But Rangers, with that one bit of real class from Diamonde, mean the half-time scoreline at McDermott Park is St Johnstone 0, Rangers 1.
On digital radio,
FM,
online at BBC Sports Scotland,
your smart speaker,
and on BBC Sounds.
This is Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
There's no substitute.
on BBC Sounds.
I mean, I watched Celebrity Mastermind. I could win that.
I did win it.
Your specialist subject wasn't Val McDermott books, was it?
It's the show that shares stories of joy and tales of woe.
John Lloyd, it is very nice to have you back on the show.
And then I worked in a flour packing mill near where we lived. It was very hot, and this flour came down from the ceiling into bags. And when I got home, I could take a little tiny scone out of each nostril.
The good, the bad and the unexpected with Mark Nelson.
Fake news, get him out of here, that's disgusting.
Listen now on BBC Sounds.
You're listening to Sports Sound. We're live here on BBC Radio Scotland. 45 minutes gone at McDermott Park. It is fair to say it has not been a game packed with quality, but one moment from Mohamed Diomande separates the sides. And right now, Rangers are halfway towards achieving the objective of supplanting Celtic at the top of the Premiership table. 1-0 for Rangers. It is, thanks to Diamande's first goal for the club. You can watch all the highlights tonight on Sports Scene. It's at 7:15 on the BBC Scotland channel. And immediately we're finished at 3 o'clock. Off the ball with Tam Cowan and Amy MacDonald stepping in to present alongside Tam this afternoon. So stay tuned, make sure you enjoy that. Sports Scene at night and throughout the course of the week. The Scottish Football Daily Podcast. Monday to Friday it's published. You can pick it up wherever you get your podcasts. And at the end of the week, I think everyone hoping it'll be another championship cracker. Partick Thistle against Dunfermline. Partick Thistle, of course, looking for the promotion playoffs, and Dunfermline in big trouble at the bottom of the table, or very near the bottom of the table. That's on Friday night. We'll have full second half commentary, of course, to come from here at McDermott Park. It was not, Callum Davidson, I've got to say, a game which required us to make too many notes in the first 45 minutes, was it?
I actually quite enjoyed it. I actually quite enjoyed how Rangers were set up to play, how Rangers obviously on the pitch, how their thought process, how Philip Clement's thought process was, how to break them down, how to create spaces, and obviously in Craig's one, St Johnstone, how to stop them. I thought they, especially the first probably 30 minutes, they kept Campbell very quiet in the middle of the pitch, who's his main creator, and I thought St Johnstone probably the happier. Before obviously the goal and the bit of quality that changed the game, I thought St Johnstone probably pretty happy. They could do a little bit more going forward, yeah, but it's always difficult when you defend that much. Limited Rangers to very, very few chances. And at that point, be really happy. And then once Rangers scored, the game just starts to open a little bit, and you find Campbell now getting a little bit more space to then cause problems for St Johnstone. And it's just been one of those games that how long does St Johnstone stay in the game? But I actually quite enjoyed it. I would say yes, goalkeeper has been tested, but on a tactical side and a thought process, I've actually enjoyed the mindset of the two managers.
Yeah, if Rangers haven't scored, and I know that's a key element of the game, St Johnstone are absolutely thrilled with their first half performance, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. After you watch them, when Rangers played Ross County, and I think they had a shot every couple of minutes against them, or the stats said that, and I think especially sometimes you play against Rangers at the moment, they're on form, they're confident, they're trying things, so again it was really important that they kept them quiet, and they did that. They did the first part of the job really well. So again, they would be pleased how they set up, and listen, they're still on the game, they're not out of the game. It's important probably for St Johnstone they get a little bit more support up to Sidibe up front, or do they bring somebody on a more attacking side? They've got 4 midfielders in there who are all midfielders, more than the central side, so could you get somebody maybe to cause Tavernier, Barisic problems down the side to try and help them get up the game, but on that flip side they'll open up, and more gaps will appear for the opposition team.
Lee, was it a measure of the standards, I guess, that Philippe Clement sets, that even after they had scored the goal he made that switch, because we had barely seen Cortes and Wright in the game. He swapped them either side to try to get a bit more out of them?
I think so. I think that's where the threat has been. I think Silva's movement's been pretty good, but as Callum touched on earlier, it's hard to play the straight passes, so it's got to come from diagonally. And although they were making the runs in behind, I'm talking about Wright and Cortes, it wasn't really coming to much. So after the goal, I think Rangers went in the ascendancy and arguably didn't really want half time to come, and it came from that switch, Cortes going on the right and Wright coming to the left. I think the game, I agree with Cal, it's been a good game. I think quality wise it hasn't really, it's been scrappy start. I think the pitch has got a lot to do with that, both teams being pretty direct. Both goalkeepers, Mitov and Butland, nothing to do apart from the goal, which Mitov had no chance with. I think the real bit of quality in the first half has came in the 31st minute from Diamande. It was a shot from distance, but I don't think St Johnstone can be too downhearted, because they've defended the box well, they've defended outside the box well in general, but it's just a shot from maybe 25-30 yards that's done them. So I think what Craig Levine will be expecting now, maybe not right away in the second half, maybe in the last 20 minutes, can we keep it at 1-0 and then go and put a little bit of pressure on the Rangers goal? Yeah,
St Johnstone did exactly what they would have been looking to do, I guess, Lee, and the contrast when you compare what we've seen from Rangers since the turn of the year, how dynamic they have been going forward. Essentially, other than Cantwell being busy in that first 30-35 minutes, the better Rangers players were further back the pitch, weren't they? I mean, they were getting nothing compared to what they've been doing for weeks now. Yeah, that was the nature of the game, but that's where I think we need to give St Johnstone credit. Yeah. With the shape they've had, that they were blocking space, especially early on in the game. They were blocking space in front of the centre halves. Rangers, I think game plan was early part of the game, 20-25 minutes, turn them. They'll go back the way, so turn them meaning the ball in behind the three centre halves, and they'd done that very frequently. And they started to creep back, and that's when you've got a Cantwell coming, getting it in the half turn, threading passes out wide, or looking for slip passes down the side of the St Johnstone centre halves. I think it'll be the same this half. I think Rangers will come out, they'll turn them early on. It's not pretty, but with a 1-0 lead at half time, it's just about winning the game and managing the game, and I think that the captain deserves a little bit of credit. The ball went into, I think if I remember, Cantwell. It's played into him, he's got pressure on him, it's a bouncy pitch, he get dispossessed, and it gets the home fans up, it gets the away fans on your back, and you've seen the captain turn round to the centre half and say, let's just get it forward, get in at half time, and then we'll regroup. So not a lot of quality in the first half apart from the goal, but I think that will change in the second half. That's actually been quite noticeable, I've got to say, Callum. St Johnstone are just not playing out from the back. They're going long, aren't they? And Rangers have been mixing it up, but quite often they're going long as well. Yeah, definitely. I think that obviously pitches for that. You know, I think it'll be really interesting. I've just looked at St Johnstone bench. You've got Nicky Clark, you've got Kimpioka, you've got DJ, you've got good attacking options up there for them to maybe give a little support to the forward. Again, it's when does Craig do that? I think when that happens, I think you'll see the space open up and you'll probably see a little bit more quality. It's really hard to get the ball, as Lee mentioned. You've got to take that extra touch when there's no space. It slows the game down. I think when the game opens up, that extra touch probably isn't quite detriment to the attacker playing the floor. So I think I think it'll be an interesting second half. I think there'll be a lot more shots on goal anyway. Well, I hope so. And I think there'll be a lot more shots on goal, and I think there'll be a lot more attempts. I think St Johnstone might have to come out a little bit and ask a few questions. Again, that's just the risk and reward. That's when you always play against the big teams, is how can you do it, where can you do it, and when can you do it, and hopefully we'll see a bit more attacking intent from St Johnstone. So as a manager, what would your instinct be? Do you look to the hour mark? Do you look later? Do you look to make it a 10-15 minute game and then put a bit more attacking intent on? It just depends how happy he is with the team on probably the attacking side. He's probably pretty happy with the defensive sort of shape of the team, and it's just right now, what do we do? Do we go and try and get someone from the game early doors? Do you make the change at half time? Do you bring a striker on? Do you bring a wide player on that can carry the ball? If he thinks somebody's got somebody there that can really help, obviously Nicky Clark was a huge player for me, and he's someone different. He'll link the play really well. He allowed the players to get up the pitch, and it might help St Johnstone. So for me, I've done it probably both ways. Half time, 60 minutes, it's probably the two sort of timings you would do it, and then you give the players that come on the chance to get into the game. It's hard coming on the last 10 minutes to make it an impact. So I think the earlier the better it is for St Johnstone. So from the Rangers point of view, Lee, would Philippe Clement be considering any changes right now, or given they have the lead, does he give the players another 10-15 minutes and then he perhaps turns to the bench? I think with the game management, it will be interesting to see how long Diamande can go, having not played for a considerable amount of time. So maybe, depending how the game goes, you might bring on Dejon Sterling, who's really mobile, or Nicholas Raskin to get more game time in his legs. I think you've got Dessers that can come on, who we agree is probably more hustle bustle than Silva, and he's a goal threat. So I think, and you've got Ross McCausland. I think Scott Wright, for me,
he's got everything. He's got a good touch. He's a ball carrier. He can nick a goal, as he's shown in big games. It's as if he's playing with just that 10% short of confidence. With the pace he's got, he'd Ryan McGowan in a 1v1. Just run him for me. And the manager was out the technical area shouting and screaming, run him. And he wanted to cut inside. I think through maybe 10-15 minutes, we'll see young McCausland come on as well.
I think the good thing as well is that you look at the Rangers, they've rotated their squad, so a lot of those players on the bench are actually match ready.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a great thing for Rangers at the moment, and that tactic's working for Philip Clement as the changes. So he knows he's got players there who are match sharp. They're not substitutes who have been there, sitting there the last 5 weeks. So I think whatever changes you make will be a positive impact on the game.
And of course the big thing from a Rangers point of view, Lee, is that they are now edging 45 minutes closer to hitting the top of the table, and the psychological boost, the confidence boost, as much as anything that might give them all.
Yeah, well, that's the incentive, and that will be the objective today. They're halfway there, but the only difference it will be, as I mentioned before the game, it's a different mindset. Let's say they do win today, it's a different mindset now when you're sitting at the top of the league and everybody's chasing you. Can they handle that? I don't see why they can't handle that, especially with the manager that's been brought in, the way he's changed mindset, the way he's changed the culture in and about training. I think he deserves enormous credit. But I'll stress again, St Johnstone are still in this game. As long as the game goes at 1-0, St Johnstone are still in this game. You'll still get set plays with her. They can be a real threat as well. And it just takes one counter-attack to hit them. So I'm with Callum on this one. I think it's a matter of time before we see Nicky Clark, who is a goal threat, great movement, can link the play, big game player for St Johnstone. So the halfway there, you'd say Rangers obvious favourites, but you just never know.
Well, certainly Rangers haven't been put under any great test in the opening 45 minutes. Couple of issues that Goulton and Suter have had to deal with, but in the main it's been relatively trouble-free. St Johnstone's main focus has been on stopping Rangers, on keeping they've done it for the most part of the half, but crucially there was just that one absolute moment of quality. Lee, you were saying actually beforehand you're looking forward to see Mohamed Diamande. What have you made of him?
I think he's been very, very good. I think he's probably been one of the best players on the pitch, if not the best. Without opening up and spraying 60-70 yard passes, he's intelligent passes into the striker, into Silva, into Cantwell. Good pace to his pass as well. Good pace to his pass. He likes to get on the ball. What I like about him is very mobile, he presses really well, he gets to contact, he's won a few turnovers, and I think the Rangers fans will be delighted with him.
And Lee's giving himself a wee pat in the back for mentioning him when he scored. He's absolutely buzzing here. Sitting here, he's like, look at me, happy. Callum, look at me. I mentioned him.
He actually started patting himself in the back.
I told you.
There's going to be a couple of changes down there. Al Lamont scribbling away furiously as he gets ready for the second half, but we're certainly going to see Dujon Sterling for Rangers. He's down there, the number 21, and
on for Scott Wright, is it?
I have to say that would have been my instinct. It is indeed confirmation that is the change, and it's Benjamin Kimpioka who is ready to enter the fray.
You're in the wrong job, Lee, aren't you?
I know. I certainly am.
He's just going to put the microphone down and sit back for the next 45
It's like
minutes.
A mic drop.
I was going to say, just dropped it.
Right, action's about to get up and running. Al has finished with his paperwork. Let's hear the second half.
Yeah, thanks, Rich. Kimpioka on for the yellow-carded David Kelchins, and I've heard from a couple of people that the first challenge on Barisic probably should have been a yellow card before he actually did pick up a yellow, so maybe just been taken off for his own benefit as much as for the collective. And Wright replaced by Dujon Sterling, who is starting the second half in that right wing position. He's already picked up possession on the right hand side. We'll get the guy's thoughts on that in a moment as Diamande then delivers a ball into the box. Silva, good save from Mitov. Rangers starting the second half in the way that you would imagine would have hoped to start the first, on the front foot and almost scoring a goal. Good reactions from Mitov to deny Silva as it remains St Johnstone 0, Rangers 1.
Yeah, a fantastic ball by Diamande there across, and I think Silva's movements really good. Just comes off the defender, swivel, hits it, and Mitov down to his right hand side makes a great save. More excitement in this second half than the first minute that we had in the whole of the first half.
Considine gets it back to his goalkeeper, yet Silva denied. Looked like it was going to creep into that far bottom corner, but Mitov dives and keeps it out. I just wonder, Lee, from yourself, first of all, the choice of Sterling to go and play on the right wing when certainly Ross McCausland is there, but Rangers do have other, what you would say, are more natural attacking options. But I know he's played left wing against St Mirren, but it's a slightly curious one for me. What's your thoughts?
I think he's got the physical attributes to basically play anywhere. I think when he's played central midfield, you'd say most off.
Here comes St Johnstone on the attack, and it's Sidibe who's denied by a block at the near post. Well, it's end to end at the start of this second period, and as Callum says, more entertainment in the first few seconds of this second period than we got in more or less the entire first half. 1-0 Rangers, with St Johnstone looking for an equaliser, and certainly Carey from that right hand side with a left foot in swinging corners can cause problems, and that's exactly what he'll try and do here as St Johnstone pack the 6-yard box. Can they get back on level terms in the opening minutes of this second half? In it comes Butland, back pedals, and it's a Rangers head who gets to it first, and it's come out to this near side. It'll be a St Johnstone throw-in, but Carey's delivery is as good as virtually anyone in the league, you'd have to say, and that was a difficult one, with the sun also, I think, shining probably in Jack Butland's eyes to an extent, as Considine lines up the long throw-in from this near side, the St Johnstone left, about 15 yards from the corner flag, and it comes to the near post. Golson rises, flicks it into the penalty area. Lundstrom just hammers it high and up the field a bit. Silva battling away. Phillips has won it though ahead of Lundstrom, but again Matthew McDermott bringing it back for the challenge initially on Silva. It'll be a Rangers free kick midway inside their own half, and the pressure relieved on the visiting defence. But yeah, good start to the second period.
Yeah, definitely both teams had a little go there. I think it was a great ball by Graham Carey over the top for Matty Smith, and he's put it front post, and Sidibe now with a strike partner, made a good run to the front post and nearly got on the end of it.
The Rangers have made a mess of the free kicks, and Johnson have it back once more. Going down the right hand side, the ball in. Well, there's a claim for a penalty there as Tavernier comes in at the back of Connor Smith, and Matthew McDermott must have had a look at that, because it was a clumsy challenge, it looked, by the Rangers skipper.
It'll be soft if it's given.
Yeah, there's contact,
but it just depends how no.
Nah, that's not good.
I think St Johnstone were hard done by last week. I think Liam Gordon gave away one against Dundee. I think it was a real soft one as well. So you only really want to see penalties given away if it's clear and obvious, isn't it? It's a big part of the game, and you don't want to give them too easily.
Yeah, well, any VAR check is swiftly over, but the throw into the Rangers penalty area again causing some problems, but Golson dealing with it at the near post, but it's out for another throw in. St Johnstone starting this.
This is where they look the biggest threat. Set plays, long throws, corners.
Here's the most recent one from Considine. This time as Diamande gets his head to it, comes back to Considine and then whipped into the area by Robinson, and a good take from Butland under a bit of pressure there from Sidibe. It was. He's now partnered up front by Kimpioka, as St Johnstone have just tweaked the way they've lined up for the second period, looking to get back on level terms.
I think St Johnstone have gone two sitting in the midfield. I think Young Smith's in behind the two strikers, so the two strikers are going to be really important how they play. Sidibe and Kimpioka, they've got to play a little bit in that system, just so Rangers just don't get out too easily down the full-backs.
Yeah, next goal in the game is clearly crucial. You have to imagine if Rangers were able to get it, it would be assurance of a victory, whereas if St Johnstone can get one back, they might feel they could get another as well. So the game still finely balanced despite Rangers' advantage 5 minutes into this second period. Could have been two, but for Mitov denying Silva in the opening minute of this second half. Here come Rangers forwards for Sterling on the halfway line. Gets turned from Tavernier's pass. He's found Cantwell, but he couldn't kill the pass, and St Johnstone pick up on the loose ball, and it's Carey. He's given it away to Cantwell. Cantwell looking to feed Silva. Silva's made the run in the channel, tries to lift it over Gordon. He's managed to do so. Gordon recovers, and Considine back to help him. It's a really nice idea from Silva, but he just couldn't quite execute the finish as Tavernier's chopped to the ground by Robinson, and he'll have a free kick about 30 and a bit yards.
Great defending by Liam Gordon. You think Silva's done him, he's flicked over his head, and the ball just doesn't fall for Silva quick enough, and Liam Gordon gets in and makes a really important channel, unless that is going to be 2-0 to Rangers.
They still have an opportunity here though, because Tavernier and Barisic both looking interested from this free kick. Under normal circumstances you might say it's too far out for a direct shot at goal, but you never really know with these two in town. But maybe it's just on for a ball to the back post more than anything else. We shall see in the next few seconds. Tavernier and Barisic is right of centre, about 32 maybe yards from goal. It's Tavernier to clip it into the back post. It's over Tavernier. It's glanced away in the end by McGowan, and it'll be a throw into Rangers over on the far side, down near the corner flag on their left, as Cortez.
Mitov actually left a really big gap on his left-hand side. He actually stood really far to his right-hand post, but there's a huge gap to the left-hand side there. I thought Barisic might have fancied that reverse one. Barisic gets the ball into Cortez, and Cantwell fires it in. There's a glancing header from Sterling just wide. He just got the very slightest nick on it, and he couldn't guide it on target. And another chance goes a-begging for Rangers. Remains St Johnstone 0, Rangers 1, 52 on the clock.
He's got to score. He's got to, any sort of contact he gets with the ball, it's in the net. He's maybe 3-4 yards out. It's a great ball in. Was it Cantwell that put the ball in, or Silva?
Yeah.
Great ball in. Any sort of contact. He must have taken his eye off the ball. Real big chance here to go 2-0 up.
That's what happens when you play a full-back that high up the pitch.
Exactly. Yeah, that was a big chance. Certainly his physicality, if Rangers are looking to go a bit more direct, is a positive in that sense, playing that position. As Tavernier wins the header, Diamonde helps it on. Phillips high in the air. Carey brings it under control, midway inside the Rangers half. Cantwell though gets a foot in, and then Sterling plays it forward. Silva battling away, goes to ground, wins a free kick just inside his own half. St Johnstone 0, Rangers 1, 53 played, but it's not by any means a guaranteed victory for Rangers at this stage. St Johnstone looking to offer more of an attacking threat in this second period. Throwing two Rangers over on the far side, midway inside their own half. The defeat by Celtic was their only one in 25 under Philippe Clement, as they have whittled away at the lead enjoyed by the champions, to the extent that if the scoreline stays the same, they will move 2 points ahead of their eternal rivals with 12 games to play in the Scottish Premiership. Here's Mitov just outside his own area, goes long, looks for the physical presence there of Kimpioka, but Suter doing well. Rangers get it cleared in the left-hand side. Cortez tries to help it on, but it's a throw into St Johnstone as Cortez goes down holding his left ankle, and Matthew McDermott just goes across to see does he need treatment, and the answer being no, it will be a throw into St Johnstone, but just under 10 minutes of this second half played. Into the feet of Carey, steps away from Lundstrom, then lofts it forward. Barisic with a poor clearance, picked up by Matt Smith. It's a good challenge though by Cortez, who comes forward and then pokes it forward to Sterling. A strong challenge by the St Johnstone captain Liam Gordon, comes through the back of the player but wins it cleanly, and St Johnstone have it on the right hand side now. Matt Smith for Kimpioka, just in line with the penalty area. Back for Smith, right flank of St Johnstone. He has to go back the way though, and now it's Carey. Tries the big switch of play out to this near side. The St Johnstone left. Robinson out-muscled by Tavernier, and Tavernier claims for the free kick and gets it. midway inside his own half, just in from the touchline, and Rangers will have the free kick.
A couple of good meaty challenges in there. Nice to see in the game nowadays. It's always difficult if you get it wrong. A little bit spicy about the game now. There's a little bit of needle there. There's something to play for both teams. You can see St Johnstone probably a little bit more aggressive now when they're pressing in the middle area. But again, if they miss time, the chances will open up.
Silva lets Tavernier's ball forward just drift behind him. He thought Barisic was much closer to him, but Barisic had stayed at home, and it's out for a throw-in over on the far side, down near the corner flag for St Johnstone, their own defensive position.
St Johnstone are trying to actually press their wing backs a little bit higher. They're trying to sort of, if Kimpioka and Sidibe don't get to the full backs, it's the two wing backs that are going. So they're trying to be a little bit more aggressive in their press. On the flip side of that, if Rangers start getting it right, they should get their wide players in more space and should open up space for them to attack. So it's a little bit sticker twist just now for St Johnstone.
Rangers have got another free kick. The St Johnstone fans over on the far side not happy, but Lundstrom, who had to go off injured in the home game against St Johnstone, and the challenge that led to the red card for Giassimi, he's down again, but Rangers get the free kick just left of centre, midway inside the St Johnstone half, and another opportunity for Barisic probably to swing this one in, and Rangers to try and make something of it. No wins in the last three here at McDermott Park for the home side. A couple of draws and a defeat since consecutive wins over Hibs and St Mirren, and they're on the defensive here as Barisic with the left foot prepares to send the ball into the penalty area. Goldson and Suter among others in a Rangers jersey looking to get on the end of it. It's Goldson who does get on the end of it, high in the air, and on the 6-yard line Mitov takes it and immediately launches it long looking for Sidibe. Tavernier's there and he just chests it down and comes forward. The Rangers captain could compose play and then tries to dink it forward, looking there for Cortez, but first to it was McGowan, and Phillips has it now in the middle of the park, challenged by Cantwell. Carey though gets the pass off to the left hand side for Considine. He'll just gallop over the halfway line. Silva comes back to close him down. Just at one chance in the game really for the Portuguese, which was smartly saved by Mitov at the start of this second period. Goldson gets his head to the ball as St Johnstone look to try and cause a threat down the left hand side. Carey picks up once more, goes back the way to Considine. Considine infield to Gordon, midway inside his own half, up towards the edge of the centre circle, and then right to McGowan. That's a poor pass from the Australian, straight out of play as he was looking for.
I like to see a little bit more movement when Liam Gordon's got the ball there. Two strikers for St Johnstone just standing still. I like a little bit opposite movement. They're playing as a two. I like to see a little bit more movement from the two of them.
That's poor control there from Kimpioka on a tricky surface certainly, but Barisic making light work of that as he finds Cantwell, who again is brought to the ground. He's been involved in plenty in that regard, as Matthew McDermott says the free kick will have to be taken again because the ball was moving. We've played almost 59 minutes. It's still 1-0 Rangers, and there's going to be another change here, and Tom Lawrence is the man who is going to come on, and off will head Todd Cantwell, who's looked as creative as anyone for Rangers, but Tom Lawrence can certainly be that player as well. You suspect this will be a straight swap in the 10?
Yeah, definitely. I think Lawrence is a really good player in that position. He's obviously played against him down the road in England. You know, great ability. Probably both very similar players, Leah.
Yes, definitely. I think Lawrence, I would say that they're very similar. I think Lawrence is probably a little bit physically stronger, maybe link the play a little bit better by using his body, but yeah, I think they're pretty similar.
Yeah, Lawrence has had a couple of outings in the more if we could say defensive part of the Rangers midfield of late, but you'd have to say that more attacking role is his favoured one and probably best one, as Goldson gets the ball to Tavernier, who guides it back to Butland, quickly out to Goldson. It'll be closed down by Kimpioka, forcing the ball forward. Goldson, it comes off Carey and Sterling. The break of the ball falls for Lawrence. Now it's Silva attacking the penalty area, pokes it through looking for Lawrence once more. It's cut out, and Carey back to cover and finds Robinson just outside his penalty area. Considine's taken a sore one in the build-up earlier on, and he's going to have to get treatment. He's gone down again. He brought himself back to his feet, but he is going to require treatment. The ball's knocked out of play, and so just over the hour mark, it's 1-0 Rangers, but the game's still in the melting pot.
Yeah, you can see Kimpioka and the Sedivy up front for St Johnstone. You can see the sort of what they're trying to do is obviously Rangers full-backs go really high, so St Johnstone try to be a little bit braver and keep the two of them up front. And then on transition, can you spin down the sides of the two centre-halves? Can you get behind? They're both really quick, so it's probably a wee ploy that Craig knows Rangers will have most of the ball, but I think it's when they turn it over quickly, can they go and attack Rangers?
You seen him coming out, Craig Levein coming out the dugout there, and he's shouting to Kimpioka, get in behind him, run in behind him. So on the initial transition, I think he's more coming to feet, which if you're Rangers centre half, you say, yep, on you go, no problem. It's when the striker opens up down in the wider areas, especially with the pace he's got, that's when it becomes a threat, and that's, Callum, you're spot on with that.
Thanks, Lee.
No problem, my friend.
Mutual Appreciation Society here. Considine exits the field of play, and St Johnstone will hope he's okay to come back on. It does look like they're getting a substitute ready. I'm not sure if it's to replace Considine or if it's a different plan that Craig Levein is working upon. He's walking down the touchline to check on Considine just now. He gives him a nod and pat in the back from his manager, and it looks like he'll be back on in fairly short order as the ball is played back to Dimitar Mitov. We've just under a half hour left to play. Rangers leading by Mohamed Diamonde's fabulous first half strike to 0. As St Johnstone try and work it down the right hand side. Good play from Connor Smith up against Diamonde, and breaks out to the right hand side. Matt Smith is operating that right wing back role in this second half in the absence of David Kelchins, who was taken off at the break.
I think a big player in St Johnstone misses Jay Wright. I think he's been out for 3-4 months now. He's the one that used to fill that position really well. He could defend, but he could also get forward at pace. So it's one position they really haven't, when I've watched St Johnstone this season, they haven't really filled it with Jay being missing.
St Johnstone have a throw in about 15 yards from the corner flag, right hand side. Ryan McGowan, who like Considine has a long throw in him, is winding one up, and then it comes to the near post, defended by Suter. Comes to Carey at the edge of the box, and he got hold of that one, maybe not perfectly, but he has one inside a corner, blocked behind off a Rangers body from the angle of the box. Carey took that volley on. If anyone can execute that, it's probably Graham Carey. He'll have a chance here from the corner kick to cause some more problems here for the Rangers back line. 1-0 the visitors lead as Carey prepares to send this one in from the right hand side. Instead he goes short, works a different angle, gets it back from Smith, but Rangers out quickly to close it down, and St Johnstone passing up a good opportunity to threaten, but they might try and do so again here. Liam Gordon will chase the ball forward, but Tavernier's managed to get himself in between ball and man and sees it behind for a goal kick. And
that's a frustrating thing as a manager. You've got Graham Carey who's got unbelievable delivery. You don't have many chances to get in the box, and he tries to play it short on this pitch.
Especially when you've got McGowan, Gordon and Considine into attacking.
Here's Silva at the other end, just lost it into the path of Sterling, takes a touch, another good one, and then he can't get the shot away. Just eventually got the ball tied up between his feet. It looked like he had worked room for the shot there, but in the end couldn't get it away, and the chance again is gone after good play from Silva, and knocks back down the other end. Butland clears up towards the halfway line. Silva, who's been working hard but had no real joy in front of goal. Diamonde is in there as well. He's gone down with Carey, the two of them holding Knox, as then Sterling's dragged to the ground by Connor Smith, and that will be a Rangers free kick quickly taken. Diamonde and Carey both back on their feet, and a quick handshake between the pair as Lundstrom picks up and plays it back to Diamonde. Good footwork from him, plays it back to Lundstrom in the midway inside the St Johnstone half, out to the right from Tavernier to Sterling, and Tavernier once more about 6 or 7 yards from the goal line. Poor cross, not a convincing clearance from Considine, but it falls kindly for St Johnstone, but they've given it away. It was Connor Smith, and Diamonde able to pick up Barisic, having to come back the way as a St Johnstone player down, and play's going to stop for treatment.
There's a great chance for Sterling there. You know, I think he's think him and Silva have combined. I think he's probably 12 yards out in the ball. Again, probably a wee bit to do with the pitch. The ball just not settling down from his try to shuffle it from left to right, and again, great run from him to get into position, but just the final execution was another fantastic chance for Rangers to score.
Yeah, well, Sidibe, who was the player down receiving attention, is back on his feet, and Rangers resume playing it. Sterling into the box from the right hand side. That's a good ball, no one attacking it in there. The Rangers and Dujon Sterling are entitled to feel that someone should have been in that area to get on the end of what was a fabulous square ball from the right hand side, and Sterling playing in an unorthodox position for him is certainly not doing himself any harm at this stage, but that was a good ball that wasn't turned in. Cortez is offside, which gives us a chance to look back at that particular opportunity.
It's a great ball in. It's a great ball in for him. I think he can play in many positions, middle of the pitch, full back, today wide right. I think he's done okay. Should have scored, to be critical of him. That's what the one Callum was talking about earlier. He's put a great ball across the 6 yard line, and Silva had come short. Cortez wasn't in at the back. I think we won't be long till we see a couple of changes here. I think there's a couple of subs been called round McCausland and Dessers.
I think it's a hard one because he's gone at pace, Andy Constantine. He's got to run round him. He's attacked that quickly. Probably the rest of his teammates are going, oh, they didn't quite realise until he actually gets in it. Sometimes quite difficult, isn't it? But that's when you want your striker always in the middle of the pitch or the middle of the box, just to get that goal, get that easy tap in and be there.
Suter just ushering the ball behind for a goal kick to Rangers. We're pretty much at the halfway point in the second period, and it's still a slender advantage that Rangers hold, and they certainly will feel they are looking for a second goal to make themselves more comfortable as both Dessers and McCausland prepare to come on. Butland launches it long over the halfway line. Silva in the jump, he's done well against Gordon. Sterling heads it to Lawrence, central area, midway inside the St Johnstone half, and he didn't get a hold of the shot as he approached the goal. He just drags it well wide of the target. We know Tom Lawrence has got a good shot from distance on him, but not on that occasion as the changes come for Rangers, and you certainly imagine this is going to be Silva making way for Dessers, who moved on to 10 league goals for the season in the week with a couple he notched against Ross County, and off he comes to make way for Silva off for Dessers, and McCausland. It's the end of Oscar Cortez's afternoon. Hasn't probably really got into the game as much as he would have liked, the young winger, and McCausland. And I think Sterling's just looking across to the bench to see, is he moving across to the left, and McCausland coming onto the right flank as he usually operates, or will he go across to the left hand side? Off comes the Colombian Cortez, 20-year-old's first league start, and he's contributed, but perhaps not as much as he would have hoped to do so. As McCausland across to the left hand side then.
It's great to see young Scottish players come into, obviously the old firm. It's also really difficult to break through, but it's great to see young McCausland, getting regular game time with them.
Albeit he's Northern Irish.
All right, sorry.
I was just writing that. Look, I was just writing that.
Well, young player coming through the ranks, then that's a better way to put it.
We take your point. We take your point.
It's nice to see you instead of signing and bring them in. It's good to see him get that sort of regular run in the team.
Dessers finds Lawrence just outside the box. Good challenge from Phillips though to dispossess him, and feeds it forward quickly, but Suter gets his head to it and gets it to his captain James Tavernier. Midway inside his own half, feeds it forward, one for Dessers to chase, albeit he's not favourites. Considine's there to sweep it back downfield. Diamonde can't bring it under control, and Goldson has to dispossess Kimpioka, who hasn't been able to make an impact since coming on at half time. It's a poor ball from Lundstrom, tried to find Barisic, and it was easily cut out, but Suter's there to equally cut out the ball forward, and no threat to Jack Butland's goal there. 70 minutes almost on the clock, still St Johnstone 0, Rangers 1. Rangers heading back to the top of the table as things stand for the first time really since February 2022. Here come Rangers looking for a second goal. It's Lawrence. Can he find McCausland? He's having to hold it up as eventually he's taken down right on the edge of the box by Phillips, but he should have got the shot away or the pass away beforehand, but dwelled on the ball, but Phillips in the end fouling him, and it's an opportunity for Rangers. The free kick from the edge of the penalty area here.
It's great play, and I think the difference between Lawrence and Cantwell, as we were talking about earlier, Lawrence makes more forward runs in behind the opposition defence, just like he done there. I think Cantwell prefers the ball to feet. The ball went into the striker there, great link up. I think he could have got his shot away, or Dessers was in for a 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper, but let's say it's the pitch, he couldn't get the ball under control, had to take the extra touch, and he's done well to buy the foul. I'm not sure it was 100% foul, but he's went down pretty easy on the contact, and the referee's given it. A real chance here for, you would say, Barisic maybe?
Yeah, you fancy Barisic here, although Tavernier's scored a few crackers in this pitch.
Do you think Tavernier decides? Do you think he says, do you know what, I fancy this one? Or
Tavernier's going, there's a huge gap. There's a huge gap.
So he wants to take it again, another one.
Tavernier, I just want to take it.
That's what I mean.
Both players, both fullbacks over the ball. It is Barisic who curls it towards goal, but Mitov read it and moved his feet quickly across to the left-hand side and gathered it pretty comfortably in the end. It wasn't heading for the top corner by any means, and it remains St Johnstone 0, Rangers 1.
I think you see the gaps open up now for Rangers. I think St Johnstone are trying to press and be a little bit more kind of aggressive in their press, but down the sides of the two centre halves, McGowan and Constantine, obviously the wing backs are going.
Here's Kimpioka as he fouled at the edge of the box. Yes, he is, by Tavernier, left-hand side of the penalty area. And this is an opportunity for St Johnstone, at least to put a dangerous ball into the box, if not go directly for goal themselves. It's
another set play,
only a yard or so outside the box.
I don't think there can be any complaints here.
I was going to say,
if Lawrence has got a foul there, then that's a foul. I don't think any of them are fouls.
I was going to just say that was an extremely soft foul as well. I think there's been a lot of soft ones given today, and I think I totally agree with Lee there. The last two are very soft. Again, dangerous areas for both teams.
Yeah, this one again, there's a left foot and a right footer over it. Actually, Graham Carey walking away, so it'll be the right foot of Matt Smith, and he'll just try and, you would imagine, guide this into that dangerous area between goalkeeper and defence.
I would roll it to Graham Carey at the edge of the box because he's free.
That's an option, certainly. The free kick is a yard outside the penalty to the left-hand side, about 15 yards from the goal line. Matt Smith standing over it, Butland just a yard off his line, all in yellow, trying to keep another clean sheet away from home. It is Matt Smith. It's a good ball, and it comes off the head of Lundstrom, and that could only have been a foot or so over the crossbar. High fives all round for John Lundstrom, but it could have ended up anywhere in truth.
Yeah, great quality ball in there. It's a dangerous area. He's put it right where you want him to, and Lundstrom, he actually could have gone in the top corner with a touch, but he just touched it over the bar.
Yeah, he got enough on it, didn't he? Graham Carey then from the right hand side with the corner kick, near post ball. It's not a great one, and it's headed towards the edge of the penalty area, and Golson gets it clear before McGowan takes a swipe there, and he's taking a sore one, the Rangers defender, as McGowan tried to get the shot away. He was just fractionally late, caught the Rangers centre back, and it'll be a Rangers free kick.
I think it's a harsh booking for him because he's just trying to get a shot off. There's no malice, not even trying to tackle the guy. He may have caught him, but he might. Do you agree with me on that as well?
Yeah,
I think it's hard. It's hard to book him for that. I think it's, if he'd lunged in at him and it was late, or Golson was breaking on him and he's just jumped in and tackled, but he's just generally just trying to turn and hit it, and Golson's just a little bit quicker in reaction.
Absolutely hear what you're saying there. Is a yellow card for St Johnstone centre back Ryan McGowan, and pressure relieved in the Rangers back line. St Johnstone have found scoring goals an issue as Dessers and Gordon are grappling away. I don't know how the referee can decide that was one more than the other. It's gone St Johnston's way, but Cyril Dessers not in agreement. Certainly his shirt was being pulled, but pretty much the same thing was happening the other way around. But anyway, the referee gives that to the defending side, and it will be a free kick to St Johnstone just outside Dimitar Mitov's penalty area as St Johnstone prepare Max Kucheravi to come on. Long ball forwards, headed away by Goldson. Lawrence gets it to Sterling, who feeds it forward for Dessers. He tries to flick it beyond Gordon, neither able to really make much of it as Phillips picks up the loose ball. And then Carey charged down by Sterling, might spin the way of Sterling. Oh, it's gone down. Is that a penalty kick? The referee looking to his assistant. The referee's still thinking, and he doesn't award it. He just turns away. It will be looked at by VAR, of course. All these incidents incidents are. Carey was hurt in the initial challenge. Was Sterling, who feeds it forward for Dessers. He tries to flick it beyond Gordon. Neither able to really make much of it as Phillips picks up the loose ball. And then Carey charged down by Sterling, might spin the way of Sterling. Oh, it's gone down. Is that a penalty kick? The referee looking to his assistant. The referee's still thinking, and he doesn't award it. He just turns away. It will be looked at by VAR, of course. All these incidents are. Carey was hurt in the initial challenge with Sterling, and then Sterling goes into the penalty. It looked like he got there just before Considine.
I think that's
and went
a penalty
down. Lee, you're looking at a monitor on the replays as well. Across with our colleagues from Sky, and
I think there's contact there of what I can see for the replay, but the referee, whether is there a penalty or not, the referee clearly couldn't see it because he's looking at his linesman and he's saying do something. I think the linesman usually runs to the corner flag if he thinks there's a penalty. Is that correct? It looks as if there's contact, a slight contact here.
It looks like there's slight contact. Well, obviously again, Vardison, because the referee actually does look at his linesman, they're looking at each other, and then I think they must be in communication, and then obviously the linesman says he's not sure either, so they don't give it, but on the flip side it just goes to VAR.
Yeah,
it's one of those.
Now the other thing is, if they do decide it is a penalty, what they'll, I would imagine, also come back and check is whether there was a foul in the build-up, because the 50-50 between Carey and Sterling has left Carey requiring treatment. I'm not sure it was.
I'm not sure it was either, and you're right, they will come back to that because that was in the attacking phase. But obviously VAR will look at it. I didn't see anything in the first challenge, and from my view it looked as if there was contact, so it looks as if in my opinion, as it stands right now, I think it will be a penalty.
Yeah, Matthew McDermott is going to come across and have another look himself.
The only question will be if Andy got a slight touch on it before.
Yeah.
That's the only one that's going to save him, because if not, it's a definite penalty.
Greg Aitken is the VAR this afternoon, and he has suggested to Matthew McDermott that it's worth another look, and the referee is coming across. We have seen a couple of refs of late stick by original decisions. What will be the case on this occasion as Carey's back on his feet, looking pretty shaken though by the strong challenge. What you have to say is that it's fantastic play by Dujon Sterling if he's won that ball cleanly and then gone on to win the second ball ahead of Considine.
He's shown great desire and tremendous pace to get there, and I'm looking at the replays, it's tight, but I don't see the defender getting any touch in the ball. Well, here he's here.
Yeah, here he comes. What's he going to say? It's going to say penalty to Rangers, and an opportunity with 12.5 minutes left on the clock for Rangers to move 2 goals in front. And you would have to imagine at that stage the game would be beyond St Johnstone and Rangers would be heading to the top of the table. And James Tavernier with a chance here to score an 11th penalty of the season and move on to 18 all told, up against Dimitar Mitov away to our right. It's a big moment for Rangers. It could be a big moment in the context of the entire season if Rangers can secure the points here. Dimitar Mitov just getting some instructions from the referee, who has awarded the penalty after having another look at the replays, and the Rangers captain will step up and try to put his side 2 goals to the good in the closing stages here in Perth. Tavernier up against Mitov. Tavernier stares the ball down. There's the referee's whistle. Tavernier takes a second, up he steps, into the back of the net from James Tavernier, absolutely unerring from James Tavernier as the Rangers fans celebrate behind Dimitar Mitov's goal. Rangers have the 2-goal advantage and are heading back to the top of the table. It's St Johnstone 0, Rangers 2.
Fantastic penalty, execution first class. The guy never lets Rangers down. I think they're under a little bit of pressure. Keeper's going the right way, but he's got absolutely no chance. No chance with the penalty. Great penalty from James Tavernier.
It does it all the time, doesn't even free kicks when needed. Steps up, shows great leadership. under pressure and execution top notch.
Just a question, did Andy get a booking? I'm not trying to obviously. Again, did he
I didn't see that either, to be honest. But what we do know is that St Johnstone trail by 2-0 unless they can mount a rather unlikely comeback. Then Rangers will move 2 points clear at the top of the Scottish Premiership this weekend, a position they haven't occupied other than a brief spell at the start of last season, since February 2022, when they relinquished that spot to Celtic, as Ange Postecoglou went on to win the first of his 2 titles, as Rangers win a free kick. You can certainly hear that there is confidence among these Rangers fans, Lee, that they can go on, having gone top of the table, to stay there and win the title again.
Yeah, I think there's definite confidence come for the stands, especially at Ibrox, a full house. Lots of confidence, and I think that's the manager. The manager's instilled that in the stands. He's definitely instilled it in the players. You look at the previous manager, the regime under him, you had players playing at Ibrox not really want the ball, couldn't really handle the ball under pressure. Any big games coming around, they were sort of failing as a team. The new manager's come in, he's changed the mindset, the culture, everything about the club, and you can tell that the fans are really, really happy if it stays the same. Obviously, to go top of the league, they get the bragging rights for. It's been a long time since they've had that, so why shouldn't they enjoy it?
Nicky Clark has just come on in place of Adama Sidibe as Craig Levine tries to salvage something from the game, and Ridvan Yilmaz is going to replace Borna Barisic at left fullback for the final 8.5 plus stoppage time.
It's quite an entertaining second half. I think St Johnstone tried to have a little go. The game opened up a little bit more. St Johnstone asked more questions of Rangers, and it's hard when you're the team. St Johnstone, you're annoyed when you give away a penalty and you give them the opportunity to take real control of the game. It's going to be a tough ask now for St Johnstone to get in and out of the game.
St Johnstone have a free kick as Barisic makes way. Looks like he's probably going to leave the club in the summer. He'd love to sign off with another title win. St Johnstone have given that straight to Cyril Dessers. Dessers is away from Considine. He's in on goal. Cyril Dessers tries to go round the keeper, and he didn't realise Liam Gordon was back to cover, and Gordon just sees it out of play, and Cyril Dessers, having done what looked like the hard work, gave himself the opportunity and then passes it up again, and it remains St Johnstone 0, Rangers 2.
Yeah, I don't think Andy Considine will be happy with young Max there. He's given the free kick shot, and he just gave it straight back to Dessers for a one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and I think Dessers got to do better there. Again, the pitch wise, did it settle? I think it's great. It's a recovery one, but you expect your striker to hit the net there.
Here come Rangers again. Sterling out to Dessers. Glorious opportunity to wrap this up once and for all for Rangers. Finds Sterling. He tries to lay it off for Diamondi, who's not been as much of a presence perhaps in this second half as others have stepped up. Tavernier being one of them, comes in field, gets away from Carey, breaks the way of Yilmaz. Now Lundstrom, 30 yards from goal, he lets fly, blocked. I'm not sure if that came off Considine or Dessers, but anyway, blocked, and then Diamondi's fouled by Kucheravi, and Rangers will have a free kick midway inside the St Johnstone half with 6.5 minutes to play. Difficult to see any way back into this game for St Johnstone.
Yeah, definitely. It's a tough one now. They're making a few wee mistakes as well. They're trying to force the game. Diamondi, for me, his first touch is brilliant, and he can move it really quickly with his second, and actually the players can't get near him. He's got real ability, and I'm really excited to watch this guy for the rest of this season and in the future.
Tavernier, the scorer of the second goal, his 18th of the season, stands over the free kick, sends it in. It's a dangerous ball. Goldson can't get there. Dessers off the bar, and the rebound comes to McCausland. Can he lay it off for a teammate? Still he has it. Now it comes to the edge of the box. Lawrence claims for a handball as St Johnstone hack it clear, and somehow they survive as Dessers hits the frame of the goal. He might have had a couple already since coming on. Again,
I
have a look at whether there was a handball in there, but we play on for now.
Wonderful ball there, I think, was it Tavernier put it in?
Yeah.
Right in that corridor. We talk about the goalie doesn't know what to do. The Rangers play attacking really well. Again, very unlucky. He's just a reaction header came off the crossbar, and then the ball just wouldn't fall to Rangers. Unlucky not to be 3-0 up.
Here comes Tavernier once more, clips it in again. Gordon gets his head to it, comes out to Lawrence for Yilmaz, left hand side. Comes forward to the edge of the penalty, looks to try and play it into the feet of Dessers, but it's well read there by McGowan, who knocks it forward for Clark, the former Rangers player who scored the crucial second in that last victory from St Johnstone. And the referee has stopped play, and I can only assume this is because the VAR check, he's going to come across and have a look, I'm sure, at the claim for handball. Normally you wait until the ball has gone out of play, but it's gone on for long enough, and you would assume here that Rangers are about to get a second penalty.
I think it is a handball. The defender turns, the defender's got his back turned and he's got his hand out in a very unnatural position, and it just hits his hand flush.
So Rangers,
that's harsh. I know, that's harsh. He's back, he doesn't know where the ball is. I'm not sure what he's meant to do with his hands. I get frustrated with these penalties, really do. I think he's not on purpose, he made his hands bigger, or his body bigger by his hands. He just turned his back. I'm not sure what you're meant to do with your hands when it turns, so I would be disappointed it was given, but I've seen them given.
On he comes, the referee, and points to the spot again. Rangers will have a second penalty and a chance to score a third goal. And James Tavernier will step up again and try and get the better of Dimitar Mitov and put this game well and truly beyond St Johnstone, whose fans are already flocking to the exits.
It's a tough one. It's a really tough one for St Johnstone. I think it's a shot on goal. It's gone. The pace is incredible. He's hit it at, and if he's standing there waving his hands in the air and it hits him in the hand, but the hand's actually down by the side. He's just turned his back. A little bit frustrated. Not even if it's for the other team.
Tavernier v Mitov, take two. Tavernier came out on top first time around and does so again into the top corner. Mitov dived to his right, the opposite way from the last time, but is it just as successful from James Tavernier? A 19th goal of the season, a 12th successful penalty as Rangers hit cruise control on their way back to the summit. It's St Johnstone nil, Rangers 3.
It's again, Captain stepping up. He's went the opposite side. He went for his first penalty, executed into top corner. Again under pressure. I can't see St Johnstone coming back now, but getting back to the original decision for the penalty. What is the defender meant to do? I think that's what you're saying, Callum, isn't it?
It's really difficult when you can't, you turn your back, and I'm not sure if you're meant to put your hands. So my argument, if their hands are up above his shoulders, it's a real debate, isn't it, this penalty one, because sometimes they're given too easily for that, and again, if somebody's fired a shot and going at a rate of knots, your natural reaction is to...
You can't get your hands out the way sometimes.
No, exactly, so I'd like to see it change a little bit for everybody. Again, if their hands are way up in the air and they're trying to stop it on purpose, but there's too many penalties given for me for handball, and I've said it all along, so I haven't really changed my mind on it. I think it's one of those ones. Penalties are big things in games, and they can really affect the outcome of a game, so they have to be given. If it is really an obvious, like Andy Constantine's, he's mistimed his tackle, and that's an obvious one for me. That one's not obvious at all.
6,986 inside McDermott Park to watch Rangers emerge victorious. It hasn't been a straightforward game by any stretch of the imagination, and the 3-0 scoreline perhaps gives an unfair reflection of that, because St Johnstone were right in the game until maybe with 10 minutes to go when that first penalty was awarded. But Rangers now very much in command and moving towards the top of the table.
I think you really credit Rangers the first half. Probably didn't create many chances, but they played a certain way. Second half, because they played that way, the game really started to open up. St Johnstone probably looked as though they tired a little bit towards the end. Dan Phillips in the middle of the park. I think he asked so many questions as Rangers back three have turned and defending. Again, little things that they managed to get in. Sterling kept getting in on this right hand side second half, and you can probably credit Philip Clement and Rangers for that. Again, that patience, understanding the game was going to be hard, it was going to be difficult, but finally got the rewards for it in the second half.
Here's John Lindstrom as we move towards the 90-minute mark. Philippe Clement still wants more from his side, barking orders at John Lindstrom there as the ball goes out for a Rangers throw-in, and the fourth official, Stuart Luke, prepares to show the board, which will indicate how much stoppage time is to be played. Carey back to Robinson, 7 minutes to be added on here, and regardless of that, it could have been 27, and you don't imagine St Johnstone would have held any real hope of taking anything from the game, trailing by 3-0 as McGowan's given it straight to McCausland. It could get worse for the Perth Saints. McCausland finds Dessers, who can't worm his way through there, and St Johnstone pick up and find Nicky Clark, who try and release Smith down that right hand side, but Yilmaz matches him stride for stride and gets back to play it to John Souttar.
Well, this sounds really strange, but it's really important St Johnstone don't concede another goal. I think they worked really hard today, and I think obviously the two penalties towards the end has probably flattered Rangers slightly. So again, it's to make sure they don't concede another one. I think it's really important for them going forward for the rest of the season.
Yeah, if they concede another goal, you could argue it's not been a 4-0 game, is it? Is that your point?
Yeah, that's my point, yeah. And 3-0 again, goal difference comes down. Yeah. It's a big thing now. They're really not going to win the game. So make sure they don't concede.
Here come Rangers though, for whom goal difference could also prove vital at the final shake-up. Dujon Sterling, who you'd have to say in that unusual for him right wing role, has made a significantly bigger impact in a positive sense than Scott Wright did in the opening 45 league.
Yeah, completely. I think he's got power and pace, and to get the penalty, he showed desire and a willingness to get there, and he showed anticipation, something Scott Wright didn't do in the first half. He was more reactive.
Here's Lawrence from the edge of the box, just tries the disguised pass actually when he looked like he was going to let fly on the left foot. St Johnstone able to get it clear out to the far side. Sorry, Lever.
I just said Scott Wright, I think, was a little bit reactive instead of anticipating in the first half. I mean, Scott Wright's a good player, he's got elite attributes, it's just when it comes together he looks brilliant. I think he's just struggling for a little bit of confidence today, so I think the manager deserves a lot of credit for putting Dujon Sterling on the right. They've got the penalty from it. He should have scored at the back post from a cross that's come in, and he also works back the way as well. I think the manager definitely deserves credit for the change.
Tavernier tried to turn forward and he ran into Robinson. He's taking a sore one and he's holding his head, so the referee's going to have to stop it as St Johnstone come forward. The home fans not happy, but immediately there's a head knock. The referees are obliged to stop the game, and the Rangers medics come on to make sure their 2-goal captain is okay. He just ran into Robinson really as he just tried to deceive him. Robinson stood his ground and Tavernier was clattered, but certainly no foul, but Tavernier should be okay, we'd imagine. But again, he's played a big role, staying calm and composed and stepping up in the big moment to score his 11th and 12th penalties of the season. Almost always clinical from the spot as Craig Levein turns away back towards his dugout, and there'll be further big games to come for St Johnstone as they look to ensure they don't get dragged down anywhere near that bottom pair of Livingston and Ross County, which looks like there's going to be a dogfight in itself to avoid automatic relegation. Tavernier groggily gets himself back to his feet. No chances worth taking with the team 3 goals to the good here in injury time at McDermott Park.
I think with Tavernier, it's his quality. You sort of underestimate how good he is at certain situations, and his quality on the ball, his set play deliveries, his crossing the box, his penalty taking is incredible. So it's he's a huge player, and something Rangers are grateful of.
Dessers is away, in behind again, he's away from Carey into the penalty. They come, Cyril Dessers, can he finish this one? No, he can't. This time it's Considine who was able to get back as Carey made life difficult for him, and I think Dessers might just have caught Carey with a flailing arm as he tried to hold him off, but between Carey and Considine they managed to keep him out, and Dessers, who might have had a hat-trick actually, having come on here, is looking like he's going to go away with nothing. You can't fault him for endeavour, and he'll always look to get back in the position to score again, but he hasn't managed to hit the back of the net this afternoon.
That's what I like about him, Al. He's got 6 goals in 6 games, I think it is. He misses chances, but he's always there to miss another one or get the next one.
Is that what you like about him?
He's not. He doesn't hide.
I know what you're saying.
So it can be a little bit frustrating to watch at times, but he still also does put the ball in the back of the net, is my point.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it's one of the probably frustrating thing for Rangers fans. He's probably had 2 or 3 great chances. You know, his conversion rate's probably a little bit lower, but I do agree with you. Sometimes when that happens, strikers hide and they go missing, but he doesn't. He's always there. He's always willing to have a go and make sure he gets in that position. So, yeah, it's one of those things. If he can actually improve his ratio, you know, I think the goals will start to fly in for him.
The Rangers throw in over on the far side to be taken by Ridvan Yilmaz, just about 15 yards away from his own corner flag. Gets the ball back from Lundstrom and then fires it forward. Dessers looks to knock it down but succeeds only in finding the feet of Phillips, who plays it back the way to Considine just inside his own half. St Johnstone looking for a consolation. Rangers looking to keep a 10th clean sheet on their travels in the league, which they haven't done since winning the title 3 seasons ago. Here's Sterling down the right hand side, he goes once more. Kucheravi can't stay with him, still Sterling almost at the byline, cuts it back, it's beyond Dessers and Lawrence. McCausland will go and retrieve it on the left hand side. Again, it was good work from Sterling, although the delivery maybe in this time.
Absolutely love that from Sterling. You know, that driving force, he just kept going, didn't stop. You know, really good. Poor play from St Johnstone, but again, when he gets the ball, especially when you're winning the game, you want somebody to carry the ball for you. Probably something St Johnstone lacked today.
There's Phillips looking to lift it over the top for Kimpioka, but he's matched well there by Goldson, who heads it out of play. Just on Sterling, I mean, that's maybe 4th or 5th different position he's played this season, and he's, you know, whatever the manager asks of him, he goes out and gives absolutely 100% and puts in a good shift, and that's the kind of attitude that Rangers have required from their players to drag themselves back into this title race, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he's very, very underrated. If you cast your mind back to the cup final, he played centre midfield there. Is that the final whistle?
Yes, it is. Yeah. Do you think they were applauding your comments there?
Yeah, I thought they were all agreeing with me.
Well, it's full time in McDermott Park, and Rangers run out deserved winners. Thanks in large part to 2 late penalties from James Tavernier, which put a rosier reflection on the scoreline. They led by a 1-0 thanks to a Mohamed Diamonde wonder strike just prior to half-time, and it was 1-0 all the way through to the 79th minute when Tavernier was able to step up for the first time after Dujon Sterling had been fouled by Andrew Considine. It was a decision that was partly taken as a result of a VAR intervention. The referee came across, had a look and pointed to the spot, and Tavernier, as he more often than not does, made it 2-0 from the spot, and 7 minutes later he was given an opportunity to add to his own and his club's tally as a handball was penalised after Tom Lawrence had a shot that was potentially goal bound, but it was stopped by a St Johnstone arm in the view of the VAR. Matthew McDermott, the referee, ultimately agreed on review, and Tavernier stepped up and did the business again for a 12th league goal of the season. He's Rangers' top league goal scorer, and he has just helped them to a 16th win in the last 17 games. 9 straight victories for Rangers. It is title-winning form. It is form that has taken them certainly back to the top of the league for the time being, with 12 games to go. St Johnstone, well, they battled and were in the game, as I say, until the last 10-11 minutes, but ultimately have fallen short here and remain down in 10th position. So it finishes at McDermott Park on this Sunday afternoon. St Johnstone 0, Rangers 3.
On digital radio.